The Canadian political landscape witnessed a seismic shift on March 22, 2025. Mark Carney, a man more recognized for his prowess in the financial world, was elected as Canada's new Prime Minister. Carney's victory, securing a comfortable majority for the Liberal Party, marked the end of Justin Trudeau's tenure and ushered in an era of uncertainty and anticipation. Carney, a seasoned economist with a global reputation, is no stranger to high-stakes situations. His tenure as the governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England speaks volumes about his experience in navigating complex economic landscapes. However, leading a nation, especially one facing the potential resurgence of a Trump presidency, presents a unique set of challenges. The world watches with bated breath. Can this financial wizard translate his economic acumen into effective political leadership? Can he, a relative newcomer to the political arena, stand toe-to-toe with the unpredictable force that is Donald Trump? Mark Carney's journey to the Prime Minister's office is anything but conventional. His career began not in the halls of Parliament but in the high-pressure world of finance. After a successful stint at Goldman Sachs, he returned to Canada, rising through the ranks to become the governor of the Bank of Canada in 2008. His steady hand during the global financial crisis earned him international acclaim and the nickname, the Rockstar Banker. He further solidified his reputation as a shrewd economic mind during his time as governor of the Bank of England from 2013 to 2020. Carney's entry into politics, while unexpected, was not entirely out of the blue. He had been increasingly vocal about climate change and social responsibility, positioning himself as a different kind of leader. His decision to join the Liberal Party and contest the leadership race following Trudeau's resignation surprised many. However, his campaign resonated with Canadians hungry for stability and experience in uncertain times. As Carney settles into his new role, a formidable challenge awaits south of the border. The upcoming U.S. presidential election carries with it the very real possibility of Donald Trump's return to the White House. Trump's previous term was marked by turbulent relations with Canada, casting a long shadow over Carney's premiership. Trump's America First policies often put him at odds with Canada. His imposition of tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, threats of auto tariffs, and relentless attacks on Canada's dairy industry created significant friction. Furthermore, his dismissive attitude towards NATO and his questioning of Canada's sovereignty in the Arctic raised serious concerns about the future of the bilateral relationship. Carney, acutely aware of the potential for renewed tensions, has vowed to defend Canadian interests vigorously. However, he has also expressed a willingness to engage with the U.S. constructively. The question remains, can he find a way to protect Canada's interests without further inflaming the often volatile Trump? The Canada-U.S. economic relationship is deeply intertwined. The two countries share the world's largest bilateral trading partnership, with billions of dollars in goods and services flowing across the border every day. Managing this relationship, particularly in the face of potential U.S. protectionism, will be a defining challenge for the Carney government. Carney's background in finance and his deep understanding of global markets are seen as assets in navigating the complexities of trade negotiations. He brings to the table a wealth of experience dealing with international actors and a keen awareness of the intricacies of trade agreements. However, negotiating with a Trump administration, known for its unpredictable and often aggressive tactics, will require a deft touch. Carney will need to strike a delicate balance, firmly defending Canadian interests while seeking common ground where possible. The success or failure of this balancing act will have profound implications for the Canadian economy and the livelihoods of millions of Canadians who rely on trade with the U.S. Section 5, A Tale of Two Temperatures: Climate Change on the Canada-U.S. Agenda. Climate change presents another potential point of friction between Ottawa and Washington. Carney is a vocal advocate for climate action and has pledged to make Canada a leader in the fight against global warming. He has promised to uphold and strengthen Canada's commitments under the Paris Agreement and to invest in clean energy and green technologies. Trump, on the other hand, has famously called climate change a hoax and has rolled back environmental regulations during his presidency. A second Trump term could see the U.S. further retreat from its international climate commitments, creating a significant rift with Canada. This divergence in views could have far-reaching consequences. It could hinder cooperation on cross-border environmental issues, such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions and protecting shared ecosystems. Moreover, it could spill over into trade disputes, with the potential for carbon tariffs and other trade barriers. Section 6, United We Stand, Navigating the Future of NORAD and NATO. The security and defense partnership between Canada and the US is another critical area that will require careful attention under a Carney government. The two countries are founding members of NATO and partners in NORAD, the Joint Aerospace Defense Command. Trump's previous criticisms of NATO, which he deemed obsolete, and his demands for increased defense spending from allies, caused considerable consternation in Ottawa. While Canada remains committed to its NATO obligations, it is unclear how a potential Trump return would impact the alliance's future. NORAD, responsible for the aerospace defense of North America, also faces challenges. The aging infrastructure and the evolving nature of threats, particularly in the Arctic, necessitate modernization and increased cooperation. However, Trump's unpredictable foreign policy and his questioning of Canada's sovereignty in the Arctic could complicate these efforts. Section 7. Canadian Voices, Canadian Choices, Public Opinion on the Carney Era. The election of Mark Carney has elicited mixed reactions from the Canadian public. His supporters, many drawn to his impressive economic credentials, see him as a steady hand in uncertain times. They believe his experience on the world stage will be invaluable in navigating the challenges posed by a potential Trump presidency and a volatile global landscape. However, critics question his lack of experience in elected office and his ties to the financial elite. Some view him as out of touch with the concerns of ordinary Canadians and worry that his policies will favor big business over working families. Public opinion on how Carney should handle a potential Trump presidency is equally divided. Some advocate for a more assertive approach, standing up to Trump's bullying tactics and defending Canadian interests forcefully. Others favor a more conciliatory tone, emphasizing diplomacy and seeking common ground where possible. Section 8. Friends, Allies, Trading Partners. The delicate balance of Canada-US relations. The relationship between Canada and the United States is often described as the most important bilateral relationship in the world. The two countries share a long history, a common language, and deeply integrated economies. However, despite the close ties, the relationship is not without its complexities and challenges. Maintaining a strong and productive relationship with the U.S., while safeguarding Canadian interests, will be a paramount task for the Carney government. This will require a delicate balancing act, navigating the potential pitfalls of a Trump presidency while seeking opportunities for cooperation. Carney's success in this endeavor will depend on his ability to build relationships, both with the U.S. administration and with key stakeholders in Congress and the business community. It will also require clear communication of Canadian interests and values, and a willingness to stand firm when necessary. Section 9. Looking ahead. Can Carney steer Canada through the storm? Mark Carney's election as Prime Minister of Canada marks the beginning of a new chapter in Canadian politics. He takes office at a time of significant global uncertainty, facing the daunting task of navigating the potential return of Donald Trump and a host of other domestic and international challenges. Carney's success will depend on his ability to translate his economic expertise into effective political leadership. He will need to unite a divided country, build bridges with international partners, and stand firm in the face of adversity. The world will be watching closely as this former central banker takes on the mantle of leadership. Can he steer Canada through the turbulent waters ahead? Only time will tell. However, one thing is certain: the stakes have never been higher.